been a minute since I was able to get you guys a video, but anyways, wanted to go over real quick about the silver now. We've seen it go up from 15 just a few weeks ago up to now right around 1750, 1760 on spot. So you're running roughly about 20 to 21 per troy ounce right now. My suggestion, of course, always is to stockpile that to move over your gold assets. Right now, gold has been taking a little bit of a hit. It went up about 0.17% today for a change of 210. But overall, silver is definitely going to outperform, especially considering the fact that I've already covered the fact that you don't want to do the paper markets with the silver. 90% of those paper markets are not going to perform for you. And when there's a run on the market, you're going to be left exactly with that, just the paper. So I always say, and I'm going to say it again today, is to hold your physical silver, right? If you don't hold it, you don't own it. So my suggestion is to probably hold off for a little bit on making those big purchases. I do believe that we're going to have another good little dip here. I'm not so certain it's going to go back down to that 15 mark, but it might even go a little bit lower than that. But definitely by the end of this year, we're going to be seeing silver probably break 22, 23 on the spot. And then after that, it's going to get significant changes. Gold is not going to perform as well as the silver, and historically we know that they pretty much run off of each other. But we're at this weird junction in time where we're actually paying less per ounce for the silver than it generally costs to produce. One thing that most people aren't realizing is that silver generally isn't mined specifically for the silver. It's kind of sort of a byproduct of mining all of these other minerals. Now, when Neymar said that he was going to withhold the sale of some of his productions of silver this year, he didn't really clarify which quarter that was going to be. So we haven't seen that yet. So we also want to keep in mind that at some point this year, probably going to be Q3, maybe even Q4, where there's going to be that holdback. My prediction is it's probably going to be in the fourth quarter. So keep that in mind. One other thing also to keep in mind real quick, just looking at the 10-year performance of the silver. Now when we're going back to May of 2006, remember this is kind of sort of that mortgage bubble crisis thing going on. Back then I was actually a loan officer, so I was doing a little bit of that, and that's kind of sort of when I jumped into the precious metals market after that. Now back then it was under $10 an ounce for the silver. Gold, if you remember, was fluctuating between 8, 9 right there. That would have been a good time to get into the gold, right? Also the silver, if we're doing it, a lot of people bought back then and they sold off at probably the wrong time. That was, if you bought back then at 10, you did a good thing. The thing that you guys have to do is to be able to hold on to it. Don't freak out, when the markets start acting weird. Pay attention to more than just what you see in the market. Understand the socioeconomic and the global patterns are more important to being able to see where everything is going. Now, if you fast forward to right after 2010, we were seeing silver hit right around $50 an ounce. Okay, so what was that? 4 years, it jumped up from under 10 to just under 50. Think about that. Now we had this huge drop between 2010 and now, where it's been under 30, right around the 20 mark for a while now. So expect this to go at least back up to the 50, if not much higher than that. Some of the more well-known individuals, as far as the silver markets are concerned, will even tell you to expect silver to make a dramatic increase at some point, possibly in the very near future. The gold is not going to do as much, because the fact of the matter is this: all of the gold that we've had is still here. It's stockpiled up, it's here, it's just being traded as a store of value, and that's that with the gold. What do you use gold for, really? Jewelry, that kind of stuff. It doesn't have the same qualities and properties that the silver does. This is why I've always been a silver bug. If you think about the industrial purposes that silver is used for versus the gold, much more. You have the fact that it's antimicrobial. You have the fact that it conducts and it transfers the heat and electricity better than gold. Maybe not so much the electricity. That's, gold is pretty good for that. That's why they use it in electronics. But silver is used industrially far more than gold. Now, I want to mention at this point, after laying that foundation, that if you look at the stockpile of silver, the global stockpile of silver, even the stockpile of silver here in the United States, from the past 100 years, you will see that silver is constantly being depleted at a much faster rate than even 20 years ago, just because of the qualities of silver that it's now being used for. So if you understand that silver burns off, it goes away, it's used at very small parts in electronics, tossed on a track, you get rid of it. It's not so much like the gold, or that's, it hangs around, sticks around. So that is what's going to really make silver the really good option to be investing in right now, because when there's a run on that, you're going to see silver probably be half the price of gold. You might be able this is how it is historically. Through the past couple thousand years, you could generally trade 12 ounces of silver for 1 ounce of gold. That's kind of sort of the calculation. Now understand, when we say ounce, we're using the troy ounce, 31.1 grams. So historically, you average 12 ounces of silver for an ounce of gold. What are we at right now? We're looking at 25 ounces of silver for 1 ounce of gold, 20 at least, so if you take this into consideration, that you're getting all this silver now, right, and it seems like it's not really valuable and people aren't really using it, but hello, smart people understand what's really going on, and they're buying the silver up and they're stockpiling it and they're saving it because they see what's happening. Now when it does, you'll probably be able to trade 4 ounces of silver for 1 ounce of gold, 5 ounces. I really expect that to happen, and that more than likely is going to happen at some point. Now, I'm not saying it's going to stay at that level, but hello, these are fluctuating markets. We know this. It's all supply, demand, supposed to be, but we have people who have large amounts of money and are able to transfer massive amounts of resources at any given time in the markets, to toy with the markets, to play with them, to really make people go towards one particular mindset or another. Do I want to be investing in this type of industry or that industry? Do I want to be buying these or this? They're playing with your heads, folks. So get your heads out of the markets and get your hands off of this paper and put it onto something physical, something that's really going to save your ass when it hits the fan. And don't think that's not going to happen, because it will very soon. So I wanted to leave you guys with that, because I haven't spoke on the silver in a minute, and I think this is right now a time where we're at this precipice, and it's going to go one way or the other for you guys. Me, I know what I'm doing. I know what I stay with all the time. So you guys do the same thing, and I'll have another video here for you later. I told you I was going to get you a video on the right to travel, and I will have that for you soon, but just keep logging in and you'll get all this information. Remember, go get yourself one of these, okay? They're handheld. You can get them almost, go anywhere. Libraries, I think, carry these days, but you can also order them online. Anyways, get yourself your Constitution handbook, keep that in your pocket at all times, and keep updating your information. Alright.